There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, guys. So here we go. This is our live look at the All-American League setup. You can check out my video if you want kind of a shorter version of this. Just kind of outlines a real quick, down and dirty how to set up the league. But this is an actual so you can see it in action for those who are interested. So here we go. I got a franchise, new. This is your buddy Zero, by the way. Anybody here for the first time, which would be anybody who's watching, most likely. I do 48 teams. I do 4 divisions, no conferences. I keep inflation off, scaling on. 80 games, 44 divisional, 36 interdivision. That gives you're playing your divisional opponents 4 times and everyone else once. Unfortunately, you cannot play everybody twice. It's just not enough games. There's not a 96 game option, so you can only play at most everybody one time, or you can't do it the other way. So I don't do shootouts, but if you don't do overtime, the commentary doesn't make sense. So all my setup is based mainly on commentary to make it make some sense. They unfortunately did not record. They did not really change the commentary very well for adjustments based on these. The only one they did do was there's a commentary that changes if you do the 2-game series. The what's it called? Aggregate score. They do bring that up if you pick that, so that's kind of cool. As far as this goes, I do. If you try to have this way, this will show if you have a single OT, then the stats on the main screen will show wins, ties, and losses. So if you have different points for OT wins versus wins, it won't be obvious in your points. So they don't have it. There is no OT win slot. If you do shootout, or if you do no overtime, then it shows wins, losses, and ties, and the commentary literally ends every game with an overtime solved nothing if there's a tie. So if you pick shootout, then it will show wins, overtime, win, loss, tie, and overtime loss. So this shows just wins, losses, and ties. So I go ahead and have no points for a loss. Because it doesn't show overtime loss if you pick this as your tie break. Let me make sure I got that right. 2, 2, 1. Yeah. I do a divisional, no wild card. I do a wild card round. 5 teams get in with a 1-game playoff. With a 1-game bid in essentially for the 4th and 5th place team to get that 4th spot. Regulation. So I do. Regulation OT. Now this is the same as total wins since we don't have shootouts. And then I do regulation, then goal differential, then least goals against. I like having a defensive tiebreaker for the last one. That's fine. So wild card round, I do 1 game. I kind of struggle with this one. I like the idea of the home team, if they sweep, getting to be at home. But then again, but this one, the away team never has a chance to win at home. So actually, I know maybe do it the other way. I'm actually going to do this one. I say if the away team, despite being at a disadvantage, um, well, here's your classic right there. Um, I'm going to keep this one actually. Normally I do a 3A 4H because I'm thinking I want the home team to get the sweep, to get the trophy at home if they can sweep it. But I kind of like the idea of the away team doing that, but having it split. I'm going to go 2H 2A 1A 1A. Yeah, I'm going to go with the classic actually. I can't there you guessed it. So I'm making a change here to what I normally do. So sorry, thinking out loud. Okay, I match the HL up. Keep the schedules the same. Make sure I have the match. Yep. Okay. Still be wild card row. Still going to be a single game though. To have that here. Yep. All right, that does that. So I put my real name. I just only because it's on signs, so I don't like. All right, now the fun part. Now I skip this. I go straight to here first. There are 4 AHL teams which are out of the league because their associated franchises are no longer in the league, and they have patches for those teams, so they cannot be used. And that's because if you'll notice, that's going to be Laval, Calgary, Ontario, and Manitoba. All of my AHL teams are ECHL teams, modified, their colors modified for their new associations. And you replace all of the European teams. Does not matter how you sub as long as you associate franchises appropriately on the next step. Because all of my custom teams, all my custom AHL teams have patches and colors that go with specific franchises. So if you want it to make sense, this is how you do it. Unfortunately, doing custom teams in franchise mode is a pain if you want to do fantasy draft. And honestly, if you want anywhere close to a balanced game, you have to. The other option would be to do literally rearrange all the rosters entirely, which is just, it is not a friendly system for that. You can't just swap rosters easily. I kind of wish you could create custom teams and not have a roster, just have it replace whatever team you're replacing. That would avoid duplicates. See, because what happens is, let me here, is when you put a custom team in and use fantasy draft, it puts the original team's roster into the free agency and then puts yours in, which means you get duplicates of every single player that you put in. Um, Now, if you don't use fantasy draft, then that's fine. You can replace a team directly 1-to-1. Like you can have Detroit Red Wings roster in your custom team, replace the Detroit Red Wings with them, and it will be fine. But fantasy draft, it literally puts we would put the Red Wings roster into free agency, and then put your players, which are just clones. So yeah, you have to, if you want to use fantasy draft, you have to use rosters that are not used in franchise. So use leagues or teams that do not appear, and that seems to work. So yeah, so I'm hoping they improve that in 24. But I'm not holding my breath. It's a mess. I'm also hoping they will add more options in custom mode as far as team names. They have a lot of cool. They have several cool logos that are unusable because there's no names that go with them, as well as teams that you can't use, like ECHL teams that you really can't use because their team names and cities are not options. For example, Savannah Ghost Pirates. Ghost Pirates is in there. Savannah is not. The Newfoundland Growlers you can't use. The There's a few of them. Oh, Quebec City. Trois Rivières is not an option. So Quebec City is the closest you can get. But yeah, the Nordiques are still not in as a team name, even though the Nordiques logo is. And then the Worcester Railers. Railers is not an option either. So it's just kind of dumb. Like, do I have the logo there? Um, and this is my long shot. Is the Thrashers logo? Thrashers is an option for team name. The logo is not. Now that's not EA's fault. The Thrashers logo is privately owned by a family or by an organization in Atlanta that does not allow it to be used. So that's not really their fault, but it'd be really cool if sometime the owners of that logo would allow it to be used. But that's actually why you don't see it and why you've never seen it in game. That's a licensing issue, and why they they didn't keep that name. Sorry, I'm blanking on where my teams are here. Okay. I always miss Reading for some reason. I keep thinking that that's a team that I made up, but I did not. We're finishing up here. Now, I will confess that I did not do nearly the amount of work on the ECHL slash AHL teams that I did on the NHL teams. It's a lot of teams to do. I mostly they have basically they all use the same goal, ending and opening or power play music. Um, all the seats are exactly the same. I didn't change the color. Only thing I changed was the colors on like the stadium and the the rink side, the whatever it's called, the border thingy. Okay, all the uniforms are the same. I just changed the colors. They're all number one. They're all the jersey number ones. Um, so yeah, I didn't worry too much about. And their alternates are all just pure white. Since home uniforms in the AHL are white, so um, I mean they're still good. I mean I'm still cool with it, and I still got the colors, but I didn't focus as much on those just because I don't play AHL really. Um, but I like the idea of having um, real teams in the AHL as well. And wheeling. That should do it for AHL. Okay. Now we go back. Now this is when we replace your NHL teams with their appropriate franchise. So we go into one that's no longer here. Tampa Bay is no longer in the league. They were moved to Wichita, but they stay with Syracuse. I try to make the affiliations make sense geographically, and for the most part they do, but it doesn't always work out that way. So, and unlike the NHL, there are Canadian teams in the AHL, mostly because I couldn't make enough custom teams. So, and there weren't enough AHL teams that, yeah. So it just worked out that way. So Vancouver moves to Anchorage, goes to Anchorage. I'm gonna have to pull up my list as well too. I do not have these memorized. I have them mostly memorized, and like some of them. Okay, let's move on here. Washington Capitals are now have moved to New Orleans and become the Zephyrs. Oh, goes right, yeah. Okay, so the Kalamazoo Wings are now an affiliate of the Little Rock Warhogs. The Jacksonville Icemen and the Richmond Wildcats. The Utah Grizzlies are, no shock here, the affiliate of the Salt Lake City Golden Eagles. On all these NHL team names, custom teams, and are all either previously existing hockey teams or affiliated somewhat with the city or state in some way. A couple that just sound cool, but mostly they are logical things. Tulsa, affiliated with the Oklahoma City Blazers. The Wheeling Nailers. And the Charleston Rivermen. South Carolina Stingrays and the Mississippi Monsters. The Quebec City Lions are a affiliate team of the Montana Magic, which is Montreal. And you'll see when you play that several of these teams actually have their alternate jersey is their original because they are meant to be moved franchises. The Kansas City Mavericks and the Iowa Rampage. The Idaho Steelheads and the Boise Pharaohs. Which is named based on a famous local movie theater called the Egyptian Theater in Boise. I forgot what I was doing. Sorry. My cat is being weird. Okay, Greenville is going to be the affiliate for Carolina, which is the only NHL team that has a new AHL affiliate. Sorry, my cat is swatting my face on the screen. Again, sorry guys. Hold on. Get down. Get down. Sorry. He was literally swatting the screen. So I'm actually going to go to Carolina here. This is how you do this. So you can get Carolina moved. Carolina currently has Chicago. The Chicago Wolves are now the affiliate of Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Spartans. Now that's done. Then you can go and find Greenville. Here we go. And now Carolina will be there. So there we go. That is the only original NHL team that has a new affiliate. So Indianapolis Fuel and the Indianapolis Ice. One of my favorite logos, not my favorite team name, but they were a real team. Fort Wayne Comets is an affiliate of the Rhode Island Redhawks, I believe. Let me double check this. Yeah. Florida Everblades are a affiliate of Burlington Wolfpack. Sorry, guys. Love them to death. The Reading, or the Royals. And Baltimore Bandits. San Diego Gulls remain an affiliate of the Ducks, which have moved to Delaware. Buffalo Sabres and Rochester. Buffalo is moved to Albuquerque, but they keep Rochester as their affiliate. Cincinnati Cyclones are now an affiliate of the Louisville Stallions, keeping them at least in the area. These stay the same. Edmonton is moved to North Dakota, as North Dakota is like the second most oil-rich state in the country, but they keep their affiliation with the other team. Okay. Okay, here. Florida is my Florida team. They stay the same. The Toledo Walleye are an affiliate of the Maine Riptide. Atlanta Gladiators, and the Atlanta Flames. Rapid City Rush, and the South Dakota Dragons. The Adirondack Thunder are an affiliate of the Hartford Whalers. A team that I'm not sure would actually exist today. I kept them because they're a classic team, and I always felt bad for Hartford. They can never get a team again, kind of like Quebec. But I'm not sure that the Whalers would actually exist today. It kind of like the Kansas City Scouts. Well, Kansas City Scouts could exist. I kind of wish there was a logo that would work with the Scouts, because I'd love to bring them back. They would just need a different logo. That would not, that's just not. I mean, I'm not making a political statement here. I'm not telling you whether I agree or disagree with it. But let's be honest, they'd have a hard time. Maybe not. Maybe not in Missouri. Since they have the Chiefs. It's hard to say. The Scouts might be tough. The Whalers, though, that's real hard to say if they'd be able to get away with that. That may have to change. But who knows? All right, here we go. The New York Islanders and the Bridgeport Islanders. Islanders are now the affiliate of the Hawaii Islanders. They all get to move out way, way, way west. I do wish you would go back to your last place, not constantly back to the same team. But it's okay. Okay, Little Rock, Louisville, Jersey, New Orleans, New York, North Dakota, Oklahoma City. The Belleville Senators are still the affiliate of the Senators, which have moved to Omaha. Philly stays. I originally had Pittsburgh as the Pennsylvania team, since my wife is a Pittsburgh fan, and I don't like sleeping on the couch, but I can't get rid of Gritty. It's just, sorry, I can't do it. So, but I did keep the Pens. They're still here. They have just moved to Portland, and it is Portland, Oregon. We should have one more here. Should be left. And the Orlando Solar Bears are the affiliate, let me just double check here, of the Manchester, oh my gosh, I've just blanked on their name. It's LA Kings. LA Kings moved to Manchester and became the Manchester Monarchs, which was, again, a real team for several years, actually, I think in multiple leagues. So there you go. So, just a quick review of the teams and affiliates for those who need that. Albuquerque Spiders and Rochester Americans. Anchorage Icebreakers and Abbotsford Canucks. Arizona Coyotes, Tucson Roadrunners. Atlanta Flames and Atlanta Gladiators. Baltimore Bandits and Reading Royals. Birmingham Bulls and Toronto Marlies. Boise Pharaohs and the Idaho Steelheads. Boston Bruins and Providence Bruins. Burlington Wolfpack and Florida Everblades, Carolina Hurricanes and the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, Charleston Rivermen and the Wheeling Nailers, Chicago Blackhawks and Rockford Ice Hogs, Colorado, Columbus and Cleveland, Dallas and Texas, the Delaware Mighty Ducks and the San Diego Gulls, Detroit and Grand Rapids, Florida and Charlotte, Hartford Whalers and the Adirondack Thunder, Hawaii Islanders and the Bridgeport Islanders, the Indianapolis Ice and the Indianapolis Fuel, Iowa Rampage and Kansas City Mavericks, Little Rock Warhogs, Kalamazoo Wings, the Louisville Stallions and the Cincinnati Cyclones, Maine Riptide and the Toledo Walleye, the Manchester Monarchs and Orlando Solar Bears, the Milwaukee Spartans and the Chicago Wolves, the Wild and the Wild, Mississippi Monsters and the South Carolina Stingrays, the Montana Magic and the Quebec City Lions, Nashville and Milwaukee, New Jersey Utica, the New Orleans Zephyrs and the Hershey Bears, New York Rangers and Hartford Wolfpack, North Dakota Oilers and the Bakersfield Condors, Oklahoma City Blazers and the Tulsa Oilers, the Omaha and Belleville Senators, Philly and Lehigh, the Portland Penguins and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, Rhode Island Redhawks and Fort Wayne Comets, Richmond Wildcats and Jacksonville Icemen, Salt Lake City Golden Eagles and the Utah Grizzlies, San Jose, Seattle Coachella, the South Dakota Dragons and the Rapid City Rush, St. Louis and Springfield, Vegas Henderson, the Wichita Lightning and the Syracuse Crunch. And there are your 48 teams and their AHL affiliates. Now, we pick our team that we want to use. I am actually living in... I will pick my current state. So here we go. I will go ahead with that one. And now we do our divisions. I do, it doesn't really matter. I do AHL first. I had better luck with that. Now, I do not remember how I got these division names. It's on Wikipedia. It's some way government agency divides up the country. It's like I don't remember. But it's four regions that are used for some kind of tracking system. And then I had to move a couple places just to make them fit, since obviously teams, especially AHL, is a mess. They are not evenly spread out by any means of the imagination. So for the AHL, first we have the Northeast Division. And that's going to have Hartford, Bridgeport, Springfield. Putting them in order helps me keep track of them better, so it doesn't actually matter what order you put them in. Providence, Utica, Rochester, Syracuse, Adirondack, Belleville and Toronto. So Belleville, Quebec City, and Wheeling. Then the Midwest Division. That's going to be Chicago, Indianapolis. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Grand Rapids. Cincinnati, Fort Wayne. Toledo and Kalamazoo. So Toledo. Kalamazoo. Milwaukee. Iowa. Rockford. Kansas City. And Cleveland. The next division is originally I had the South, but actually the Southeast makes more sense, and you'll see why in a second. So this is the only one that has a different name from its NHL counterpart. This is the Southeast Division, which is going to give you Florida, Orlando, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Charlotte, Greenville, South Carolina, sorry. Hold on. I'm going to check some real quick here. Testing, testing. Okay. Sorry, nightmare scenario. Okay, South Carolina, Tulsa, Lehigh Valley. Oh, here's the East. Lehigh Valley, Hershey, Wilkes-Barre, and Reading. And lastly, we have the West Division. Which Bakersfield, so these are all, just double check these. Oh, these are all Western teams, so there you go. There's your divisions. Here's your AHL divisions. Then the NHL. Division 1, also Northeast. Here we also have here's a few similar teams. Otherwise, I didn't match up. I didn't try to match up, which is fine. So I did them regionally by where they are, not based on their affiliations. So because that obviously would not work for some of the teams, which are opposite ends of the country from their affiliates. So, but that's true now, so that's okay. So we have Hartford. There we go. Hartford, Maine. Boston. Manchester. Rhode Island. Burlington. New Jersey. The New York Rangers. Or New York. Philadelphia. Charleston. Baltimore. And Delaware. Then we have the Midwest Division. Which is Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, Columbus, Milwaukee, Iowa. Wichita. St. Louis. North Dakota and South Dakota. Omaha. And I did miss one. Just a moment here. Okay, what did I miss? Chicago, Indianapolis, Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, Columbus, Milwaukee, Iowa, Wichita, St. Louis, North Dakota, South Dakota, Omaha. Wait, what the heck? Okay, I can't read apparently. Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, Columbus, Milwaukee, Iowa, Wichita. Oh, Minnesota. Wow, that was so much fun. There we go. Okay. This is the only one with a different name. It's the South Division. We didn't have the issue with having to put Eastern teams into this one, so that's going to be Florida, Orlando. Where'd you go? Oh my gosh, what the heck? Oh, Atlanta. Gosh, I was on the wrong list. Sorry, guys. Where'd you go? There you go. Florida, Atlanta, Richmond. All right, Florida, Atlanta, Richmond, Carolina, Birmingham, Louisville, Mississippi, Nashville, Little Rock, New Orleans, Dallas, and Oklahoma City. And lastly, remaining teams are in the West Division of the NHL. And always, this is Portland, Oregon, as Maine has its own team. So there you go. Oh, here are your NHL teams. All right. I do fan player pool. This is kind of as far as what the difference is, not much actually. It doesn't actually add that many players, but I like it. Yeah. There should not be any duplicates if you use the rosters appropriately. You should be fine. So obviously you make roster changes or use different rosters, that will change that. I do that. Don't do that. I do that. This is obviously all personal preference. Away we go. Okay. I randomize until I am the first. There we go. Now, the rosters that I posted do not have the custom player. That's my personal one. That's my kid. Because, yeah. So the first player that I always put in will not be on your roster unless, I mean, you can obviously make your own, but you would not likely have this one. Be a little weird, unless I know you. It is a center. There we go. She's always my first pick. That's my daughter. She's 5, and can't skate, but I can dream. I probably probably not the only one to put their kids or family members into games when they can. NFL, I put my son in. This one, since I can, I put her in. So deal with it. How I do my draft is I go ahead and put top players first. I get my key players first. So I've already got a center, so I will go ahead and do a left wing. I just do this. Nice. Already have a center. Already have a center. All right, fine. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Get a lead player here. All right. And then what I do from there, I fill up my top, my starters. After this, I get the top players that I can afford. And then after this, you guys, if anybody wants to, this is all just filler from here after this. But how I do it, this is just my personal preference. Other ways to do it differently. How much time and intense you want to put into it. I go ahead and I take the cap space I have and divide that by the number of slots I have remaining. So in this case, I would do 55.875 divided by 45. There are 50 roster slots essentially to fill, and once I get my top players, then what's remaining gets divided evenly among other players. So it's 1.242. So I get the highest overall player that costs that much or less. So great G. And I go ahead and once I get my full starters lined up, so basically 4s, I get my 4 centers, 4 left wings, 4 right wings, 6 defense, and 2 goalies. Then I will go ahead and pick the players that are under 80 and then under 70. So I have some cap. That leaves me some cap space, some room to grow, some room to develop, and make trades later on. So really, that's all there is to it. I will go ahead and end the video here. I will post another video once I start actually playing. I'll start streaming the games themselves, so you guys can see how things play out or follow the league. And that's it. So thanks for joining. Again, thanks for hanging by, and subscribe if you use the rosters in your own games for streaming. Appreciate a shout out. Otherwise, we're out. Thanks, guys.